So as always, we're going to start with the attendance. We're going to see if our secretary hops in. But for right now, let me just put the agenda in the chat one more time. And let me find the meeting minutes document for today. Sorry about that. Thank you all for your patience. Yes, yes. Okay. Vice President, would you mind taking the attendance one more time? I'm so sorry. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, we're just getting configured a little bit. If you haven't already, please review the meeting minutes. I will be uploading the rest of the documents today. So our legacy will be complete with everything that we've done this year. So we're just waiting on our vice president. Currently, our secretary is on the bus in the middle of transportation, but we'll be starting with the first item on the agenda as soon as the minutes are ready. Thank you all for your patience once again. My apologies.
I'm going to take attendance momentarily. Sorry, my computer's just extremely slow. Slow is an understatement for my computer.
Yeah, I'm sorry about all the confusion. Our secretary is joining right now. I'm trying to work on some other final things at the moment. Thank you all really for your patience. Madam Secretary, would you be able to rescue myself, the President, our Vice President?
Yes, what do you need? Hopefully.
The attendance, please. Thank you so much.
All right. Dylan is here.
Here.
Carolyn.
Here.
Harrison is here.
Here, thank you.
I'm here now. Adele. Adele. Quay.
I think
Here.
Adele said he put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. I can only see what's on the chat now, so just let me know. Quay.
Here.
Aziza.
Here.
Brendan. Christine.
Here.
David.
Here.
Yvette.
Here.
Jordan.
Here.
Kate.
Here.
Miriam.
Here.
Mira.
Here.
Naveen.
Here.
Robert.
Here.
Saket.
Here.
Sateva. Okay, Sebastian.
Here.
Sweta.
Here.
Tanvi.
Here.
Tonazit.
Here.
Zahra.
Here.
Brianna. Camila.
Here.
Ricky.
Present.
Sarah. And Riddhi. All right, that's it for attendance. If I miss anyone, you guys can put your name in the chat.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. The next item on the agenda, as always, is the approval of minutes. So if there is no objection, we'll be approving the minutes from the last SGA General Body meeting. That would be the 26th of April, 2021. Okay, hearing no objection, the minutes from last meeting have been approved. Next, on to Executive Board reports, the Legacy Drive. It's all formatted. Every single legislation that we've been able to find and or passed is there. I'm currently uploading the PDFs at the moment. That should be done by the end of today, including the president's signature, and the paper copies will be found in the SGA office when we're back on campus next year. For SGA Emergency Fund and other aid, I've gotten a couple of questions about this recently, actually from some other students, but the link is below. It's forms.newark.rutgers.edu/app/main. It will be the first form for COVID-19 appeal form. Other resources include our counseling center, which has drop-in hours. You can schedule virtual appointments. The student text helpline, which is run by students and VPVA. It's completely confidential. Sanvello, it's a fantastic app. You activate it via the My Rutgers portal. And then finally, the Student Health Center. The number I listed is just to call and schedule an appointment, but they also have a 24-hour nurse hotline if you're in need of more immediate assistance. Of course, if it is an emergency, do call 911. The Rutgers will mandate the vaccine next year. Here's the FAQ page. If you have people asking about how the vaccine will work, how the uploading documentation, all that is on the FAQ page. I've also attached Chancellor Cantor's plans for fall 2021. On-campus residents will increase from around 40% to 70%. And we are expecting most classes to be in person, with all students either having vaccinations or maybe a couple of exemptions. There is a GoFundMe for Jamal with 2 A's Brown. Please do contribute and share if you have not done so already. And finally, for course issues, if you ever have a problem with a professor, with a course, something goes wrong, contact in order of instructor, then the chair of the department. Then if that is not successful, finally the dean. And at every step you should be CCing runsga@gmail.com. We want to be able to advocate for students, and we know that courses are a common concern and a common issue. President, would you like to talk about the certificate of recognition?
Certainly. Okay, so yes, I added that on the agenda last minute. It's somewhat a surprise. I'm really proud of the association in general. I'm super appreciative of all of you for doing so much. One of the main things I've learned in this role is that I can't do everything myself, and I need other people to do other things. So it's been amazing to have such a great team I can rely on and help me and get things done and serve students and be there for this and that. Really appreciative. I think as an association, our level of participation is through the roof. And that's crazy given the circumstances that don't even need to be mentioned, right? Like that is just nuts. So I just want to thank everybody. And I have some certificates for those who I believe have been the backbone of our association. And there's some like special reasoning. So I'd say don't feel left out. There's some special reasoning that I'll elaborate on at the end. But I do think that all of you have been so great this year. And I think the SGA itself, these last couple of years has been on an exponential curve. Every year, just increasing more, better, more participation, more results, more accomplishments, all that. So let's see. I don't know if it's mirrored here. I don't know if you'll be able to read it, but I'll start with the first one. Can you? Oh, it's not mirrored. Okay, you can read it. So this is a certificate of recognition. This certificate is proudly presented to Akwe Borte on May 3rd, 2021 for his dedication and innovations as media chair at Rutgers University Newark. So thank you, Akwe. Akwe's done so much for us all year long, really innovated us, put us more towards e-government. I know I like that term a lot. Yeah, thank you, Akwe. Next. Certificate of recognition. I'm trying to get the camera right. Certificate of recognition. This certificate is proudly presented to Tanvi Patel on May 3rd, 2021 for her dedication as Speaker of the Senate at Rutgers University Newark. I think Tanvi, you've done a great job. Really appreciate you. I think we butted heads, of course, but I think that's natural and should take place anyway. But yeah, Tanvi's done a lot, really invigorated the role. The participation among senators. She's made innovations, right? The caucus just made us more productive overall. Lastly, certificate of recognition. This certificate is proudly presented to Harrison Chu on May 3rd, 2021 for his dedication and innovations as Chief of Staff at Rutgers University Newark. I don't think I really need to speak much about Harrison. I think we all know he's put in so much work, so much work and time. And I'm so appreciative of you, Harrison. You've done so much. You're going to be a big help too with our strong finish. So the special reasoning, these three roles are three roles that I had in SGA in the past. And I believe the three of them each have put in more innovations, more time, more effort than I have, and have made the role even better. And I think every year we've been seeing often someone in a role and they're better than the previous. And I think that's important. That's a good thing. We want to keep that going, riding that exponential curve. So next year, the association has some big shoes to fill, like some Michael Jordan shoes to fill right there, big size shoes. So And I hope that's the case. That's the goal. I want SGA to continue improving every year, better and better, more effort, more innovations. So, yeah, and that's it for the certificates. I'll DM you privately for your address, and I'll mail it to you.
Thank you very much, President. Thank you all for your hard work. That was a very nice surprise. So thank you very much for that. The next item on the agenda, now that we've concluded executive reports, last time you'll have to hear me go on my ramble this year, is committee reports. So I know in previous years they had presentations. I did not want to pressure any of you with any of that during finals week or during a reading day. But are there any committee reports?
May I be recognized?
Of course.
So, seeing as it is the last general body meeting, I really just want to show my appreciation to the Internal Affairs Committee. Y'all are great. And for putting up with me, honestly, thank you so much. Because I know that sometimes I go MIA, I'm completely missing, but you guys always adjust to my schedule and are there to review legislation at 12 p.m. at night, sometimes 2 a.m. So honestly, thank you all so much for being there and for contributing. I have never met such a dedicated group. Of course, I wasn't here last year for internal affairs, but you guys were great, and all of your thoughts and ideas just contributed greatly to the bill that we're putting forth today. So thank you all.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and congratulations. Are there any other committee reports?
Request permission to speak.
Recognized.
Hello, everyone. Aquila Borte. I'm still under the weather, for a while now, but it's all good. I just wanted to update you on the amazing work you've done. I remember last year during the summer, it was very, very shaky. We had a very, very shaky start. I can't, everything was kind of rushed. We're someone help me. I remember we were being pressured to respond to things that are going on in the world in general and in the school specifically. But over the past few, over these past two semesters, you've done a very, very great job. I just want to say thank you to all the senators. Each and every one of you have contributed immensely to what SGA is today, including the e-government, as Dylan likes to call it. But it wouldn't be as it is today if it wasn't because of all of your hard work. But just to give a brief summary, and this is just over the last month, we've had over 19,420 impressions, which includes profile visits. This is just for Instagram, though. Profile visits, website touches, email button taps, and whatnot. We've also been able to reach 1,400 accounts with our most recent post, which is one of our top posts. We've immensely shown that we've been there for a lot of students. We've also revamped our social media platforms, include LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the websites, and I'd like to give a special thank you to Socket for helping set that up. We've been able to come on LinkedIn. We've revamped our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Special thanks to all of the people who contributed to the State of the Campus address. That was really amazing. And last but not the least, I also want to mention that the SGA website is finally complete. We're still in the process of adding resources that's important for students, but generally speaking, everything is complete. If you want to make any changes to your profiles, please feel free to reach out to me, because how I think about it is that you could use this to share the work that you've done in the SGA on your LinkedIn pages by sending a link, directing a link to the SGA website and whatnot. And other members of the SGA could also add their profiles and work hard. I think it's a very, very big incentive to work hard in the SGA. So that's pretty much all for me. But really, again, thank you everyone for your dedication and passion and all the work that you've put in the SG. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Are there any other committee reports?
Hi everyone. Sorry, Harrison. Hi everyone. Sarah Shoba, Sexual Assault Prevention Committee Chair. Unfortunately, we've been unable to meet just because of, all the different projects everybody's working on. And, I think this is a case with a lot of the committees and, organizations where members are shared with every other committee or, different organizations. So it's just very hard to find some time to meet. But I really do want to thank every single person that attended the VPVA trainings. It is very essential that we are doing our due diligence to understand and address interpersonal violence, whether it would be on campus, in our workplace, or in our home and in our personal lives. And it's very important because it's not always seen and it's not always obvious. So understanding what it is and how it's beneficial. In the beginning of the semester, we had a lot of plans for what we wanted to tackle and what we wanted to do. But I really do want to urge the next SGA to continue working on interpersonal violence and addressing sexual assault, because we are a campus nonetheless, and it definitely does happen on our campus. It's less than the national average, but nonetheless, it is existent, and just addressing that and ensuring that our association and our campus is a place where survivors can come forward, share their stories, and offer and being offered that space. And it starts with student leaders like all of us, and ensuring that there is a trust within the community, and not violating that trust in that space for all survivors, and ensuring that there will be justice, and that we do believe survivors. And I think that's very important to not question or gaslight people and their experiences, and just ensuring that we are all educated on the resources that exist. And so I hope, although we didn't do a lot of the things that we wanted to, at least majority of the Senate and the association members is educated on what to do and what resources are available on campus in case somebody comes forward and shares a story with you, and you can address and you can guide them to and help them navigate the resources and what avenues they can take.
Thank you very much, Chair. Senator Warner.
So we got this really big legislation passed last week that Dylan helped me a lot with, and I spoke to Tomby about, and we didn't really have much time to discuss it. And so I just wanted to kind of explain it just a little briefly, just to make sure we have transparency and everyone is going to get excited for next year. So next year, we're actually going to be starting reusable to-go containers. So I don't know if anyone else is on campus, but I'm currently there. And we agreed to go plastic-free for plastic bags last year, which is true right now. We're using reusable, like plastic, not plastic bags. But something interesting about it is we have heavily plastic containers for to-go because of Corona and everything like that. So I was doing research, and I spoke to the dining hall staff before, Brian, who's in charge, and we were discussing of ways to make it reusable. And we realized, like I was explaining, why don't we use reusable to-go containers? And he's like, well, we've tried that before and there's no accountability. And so no one brought it back. So it kind of died out. So I was thinking and trying to come up with ways to do it. So next year, we're going to be launching a cool program, which is we're going to start with 500 students. And the whole idea is for them to be able to get 2 meals a day with their meal plan, and they'll be using reusable to-go containers, which they bring back at the end of each meal. So it's a $5 deposit, which you will get back at the end of the program. And it's just so we have your credit card or your debit card or your Raider Bucks or whatever you're using for the $5 deposit. So in case you don't bring back the container, you'll be charged for the cost of the product. And when you sign up, you'll be entered in a raffle. And then once you enter in the raffle, you could get like $25 gift card and so on and so forth. But basically, when you swipe your meal plan and you show your Rutgers ID, you swipe it, scan it in, say you're going to do a meal swipe, at the dining hall, the Paul Robeson Dining Hall. We're going to call it the clean box program. You're doing the clean box program, the staff does, and you give your used container, your dirty container, and you hand it to them. And you just have to make sure you don't have to clean it or anything, but dump out any food because that's just kind of gross. No one wants to be dealing with gross food. So you dump it, hand them your dirty container, and they hand you a new container, and they scan it out like a library book. There's a barcode at the bottom of each container. And so you exchange it, you hand them the dirty container, they put it in the right spot so they can clean it. And then after that, once you hit 10, I'm thinking, this is all up to change or however it's going to work. But the idea is no one at this point in the day will do anything without an incentive. So, because of course it's easier to use single use and just throw it out. So after 10 uses, you'll either get like a free drink from Starbucks or feel free meal swipe. We're working out the details still. But then you exchange it like a library book. You get your clean container, and it's like a 3-compartment to-go container, and it's on the bill and everything. If anyone has any questions, you can always ask me, and I have a whole detailed plan I can share with anyone if they have any more questions. But you exchange it, and then when you exchange it, what's it called? You take your new box, and you go and you get your meal, and then you bring it back. When you're done using it, you bring it back in your dirty container, and you keep exchanging. But let's say you don't want to do the container like this week, or you just don't want a new like reusable container. You give back the container, they scan it in, and they say, okay, I'm not interested in doing it. And then your $5 deposit will be given back to you. The only reason we're doing a deposit is to make sure we have accountability. So later on, let's say you don't bring back the container, we know who to charge it to and make sure that like your Raider Bucks or whatever you're choosing will work out. And you will get charged for the container, which will only be like $5 or $7, all depending, is if you don't bring it back or if it's in like unusable condition. So I just want to explain it. If anyone has any questions, they can ask me now.
I'd like to speak up if possible. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's an awesome initiative. Because well, let's be frank here, right? In the past, plastic bags weren't really used that often on campus. So, we banned them. Okay, that's great, but not too big of an impact. This will have a much bigger impact. And it's very innovative. It's systematic. And Brian's great. And I think this could be something really cool for next year. So thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Chair. Is there any other committee reports? Are there any other committee reports? All right. Once again, we will be having a little bit of an impact presentation at the end. But if there are no further reports, we're going to move straight to old business. So once again, thank you again to our speaker. Thank you to the entire Internal Affairs Committee for working on all these changes, all these hot fixes. It's a little bit new and updated. The new document, I've just sent it in the chat, and I can share screen or however the Internal Affairs Committee would like to present this.
If we could do what we did last time, just sharing the screen, going through it.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So I will say just a little bit of clarification. This is completely a mishap on my part. I did not send the exact language to our Dino students. So unfortunately, we were not able to get the past version approved. But this includes some new edits, touches upon some more issues. So let me share my screen briefly. Just to give a little bit of a brief overview, I know I include the bullets in the agenda, but essentially it has procedures for judicial counsel. This new document separates the complaint and the appeals procedure. There is an edit to Bylaw 203, Section 10. So instead of having any external judiciary body, we are specifying that it will be Allocations Board plus 3 members of Honors Council without the Chief of Finance from Allocations Board. There are some common practice or sense modifications for elections, just some things that the Elections Committee has been doing that we need to update the bylaws so that they're in accordance. And finally, we are creating new positions, the judicial and legislative secretaries, as mentioned last time. So without further ado, let me know. Let me know what to do, speaker.
You can skip over this whereas. We went over it last time. Okay, so for this section, I believe, sorry, again, I have to quickly read over it just so I know what I'm going to say. Okay, so section 3 is section 4 is the new one. So Dean Williams really encouraged us to kind of amend section Bylaw 203, Article 1, Section 10, because the way that it stood, there was no process for who would be the external judicial party. So we all met and we agreed that it should compose of allocation board members, not including chief of finance, of course, and in addition to 3 members of honors council. So with her advice, we embedded that into this resolution. You can scroll down, Harrison. I'm just going to go through the new things that we added. So this is new. So what we did was we broke apart our appeals procedure that we originally had, and we broke it into a complaint procedure and another appeals procedure. So how it's going to work is anyone that has a complaint against the association's branch committee officers should be made in writing to the Internal Affairs Committee. So whoever is going to be on Internal Affairs next year, you have a lot more work ahead of you. So sorry about that. And then any violations regarding to elections should be made in writing to the Elections Committee. Then after the complaint has been made, obviously the committee will first, the complainant will submit their complaint, evidence, and names, and they'll have 5 working days to report it after the incident. Then the committee must accept the complaint and evidence within 2 days after receiving it. And the committee must also contact the respondent. So the respondent is the person that committed the offense, of course.
Sorry about that. Don't know.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm just trying to make it bigger.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
I do encourage everyone to follow along on their own screens if you can't see this one. Next, after the committee does their work, they have to contact the respondent. The respondent must submit their evidence and the names of any witnesses or witness statements against the complainant within 5 days of being contacted by said committee. Then the committee will conduct interviews as necessary with the complainant, the respondent, and any witnesses that were named as well. Yeah, that kind of sums that up. And then once the committee is done conducting the interviews and collecting all the evidence, they will then either say your complaint is valid, we're going to charge the respondent with a violation and a sanction, and we will provide that all in a letter. And then once the charges and sanctions have been issued to the respondent will have 1 working day to contest or accept responsibility in a written submission to the committee. So in cases where the respondent is deciding to accept responsibility for the charges presented, the recommended sanctions will automatically be enacted. In cases where the respondent is deciding to accept responsibility for the charges, but is contesting the recommended sanctions, or they will then make an appeal to judicial council. And in cases where the respondent, Harrison, could you scroll down a little? And then in cases where the respondent is completely being unresponsive, the committee in question shall exhaust all possible remedies, then assess the ramifications of the violations in question. And then, of course, the respondent always holds the right to appeal all findings and or sanctions. So now we're heading into the appeals process, which we added a bit of. So essentially, the respondent will then have 3 working days to submit after their decision was submitted to the committee to appeal the committee's outcome. And then we also added some grounds for an appeal. Harrison, if you could please scroll down. So the grounds for appeal is pretty standard, unsupported conclusion. So this is saying that the committee made a decision on the case with unsupported facts. And then procedural error states that the committee made a procedural error, whether they, didn't conduct all interviews or they didn't review all of the evidence, or something just happened. They made decisions without taking a proper vote. That will then go to the Judicial Council as an appeal. New information is obviously when there's new evidence that changed the entire grounds of the case and could potentially change the outcome of the case. And then disproportionate sanction, as I kind of slightly mentioned before, that's where the respondent disagrees with the sanction imposed upon them. That will also go to Judicial Council as well. Then Section 3 states that the Judicial Council must accept the complaint with an evidence within 2 working days after receiving it. Then they will contact the committee, and the committee must forward any reports pertaining to their original decision. Section 5, within the time frame from accepting the complaint to submission of evidence, both the complainant and respondent reserve the right to request a hearing, but it must affect the student's standing within the university, candidacy, or association. And then Section 6 states that after all evidence is collected, the Judicial Council will have 5 working days to meet, deliberate the case, and also write up their conclusion and their decision on the case. Then Section 7, Judicial Council has the reserved right to uphold or strike a violation given to the complainant. However, in the case that a sanction is deemed unfit, they may strike the sanction and strictly advise the committee on the magnitude of the sanction. Taking into consideration the Judicial Council's advice, the committee will then place a new sanction. And then Section 8 just says, within the next 2 days, the Judicial Council must put in writing their majority and minority opinions and send that over to the complainant and respondent.
So very quickly, the appeals process is completely new, but 2 things are of note. The Section 6, 5 working days to meet, deliberate on the facts of the case, and inform the complainant and respondent. This past year, we had some issues with the timeline with Judicial Council, specifically because they thought they had 5 days to do everything in this appeals process together. So this extends the timeline a little bit. And then for Section 8, this is consistent with the existing procedures. Normally, I believe it's written somewhere else in the bylaws, but they have 2 days after the decision to to distribute the majority and minority opinions. Sorry for cutting in, speaker.
No, you're totally fine. And then the hearing procedure is exactly the same, so we don't really need to go over that again. These amendments to the election section are also the same. Now we're getting into the new stuff, which is, so as you all know, we had a conflict with the veto and the timing of it. So we decided to change the language to say the president shall have the power to make recommendations or propose legislation to the Senate as deemed necessary. However, we changed it from 5 days to 5 working days. The president will have to veto. And then if the president vetoes such legislation, the Senate shall have no more than 10 working days to override the veto and enact the legislation. So the changes are just the working days. And then we changed from, I believe, 5 days for the legislative body to enact the legislation to 10. Sorry, if anyone needs clarification, please just speak up. And these are the same. Yes, David. Or Harrison, if you could.
Hey. No, I just had a quick question. Sorry. I was trying to press the button, but it wasn't pressing. Just quick question. So it goes for the vote wise to invoke the committee, right? It goes for majority vote or for 2/3 vote?
For what section?
I believe.
Are you talking about the transition committee?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Are you talking about the transition committee?
I believe so. No, it was above, more towards the beginning. I think it's part of the appeals process to invoke the committee for judicial council decisions. Is that a majority or a 2/3 vote?
Are you referring to overturning and switching it to the external judicial body, Senator?
Yes.
That currently is a majority vote, which is a little bit unusual. But the only thing that is changing within these proposed amendments is specifying the body. But it is specifying the external judicial body. Let me find that actually.
Gotcha. Okay.
Here, so section 4. Section 4 right here. Amendments to bylaw 2.3 article 1. After an external judicial party, it's specifying the composition. Right before the external judicial party, it says like enact by like a 1/2 majority vote or something like that. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Going back, can we go back to where we were?
Oh, I realized I was muted. Is this the correct position?
No, we were at the president's veto.
Oh, president's veto. That's right. My bad.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Right here.
Yeah, so we just finished that. We can scroll down.
Okay. From 5 days to 10 working days.
Yep.
To overturn. Mm-hmm. This has not changed, I don't believe.
No.
Okay. So this basically allows elections committee members, in addition to just like previously the election committee chair. And okay, so this is slightly rearranged, but this starts the sections about secretaries, beginning with the executive secretary.
Yep. So we just, with the creation of the judicial secretary, as we spoke upon last meeting, we obviously needed to update the executive secretary and the legislative secretary's jobs. So this is exactly what it's doing. It's saying that, they have the power to meet with the other secretaries once per academic semester. And then the legislative secretary. So while the legislative secretary was mentioned in our charter, it didn't have a section, or it didn't lay out their responsibilities. So this is exactly what that does. It just says that the legislative secretary shall be nominated by the Senate, appointed by the Speaker of the Senate, and elected by a majority vote of the Senate, present at a duly constituted general body meeting. Then the legislative secretary is also responsible for coordinating on the Senate caucus meeting agenda with the Speaker, and is also responsible for taking meeting minutes. Section 3, again, it's the power for the 3 secretaries to meet and discuss the branch's activities. Section 4 says that the legislative secretary is responsible for reporting back to the Speaker after the secretary meeting. So the only new part, another new part towards the end, is that in case that the Speaker of the Senate can no longer serve, the legislative secretary shall assume office until a new Speaker of the Senate is nominated as per bylaw 202, article 2, section 1. So this is the same as last time, so we can skip over that.
Briefly, it's sort of like parallel, which I really love. I love that organizational symmetry. But if the speaker cannot host a meeting, the legislative secretary fills in. If the chief of arbitration cannot host a meeting, the judicial secretary steps in, but they do not have the power to arbitrate. I want to make that clear. Okay, transition committee.
So the transition committee, as we all know, we've kind of been working on transitioning from this association to the next association. So we just put it in words that we will now have a standing committee known as the transition committee that shall be chaired by a member of the Senate, and the chair shall be nominated at the second duly constituted general body meeting of the academic year with the approval of the Speaker of the Senate and a simple majority vote. Section 2 states that the transition committee shall seek to ensure that the association has a foundation of knowledge and understanding of their duties. This includes, but is not limited to, providing the next association with any and all relevant records, resources, including emails, records of meetings, legislations, and statements, the Charter of Bylaws, and resources on Robert's Rules of Order. Section 3 states that the transition committee shall work with the elections committee to reach out to all officers elect of the fall and spring elections and connect them to their current predecessor. Section 4 states that the transition committee shall work with all members of the association to ensure that they are connected with their successor. And lastly, we added this so that in the future, if any association wants to do what we're doing, which is giving our remaining funds to the emergency fund, they shall have the right to do that. However, if it is not done by the duly constituted general body meeting, then all funds shall be transferred into allocations. And that is our bill.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Internal Affairs Committee. I know Judicial Council overlooked over this and helped suggest language. Dean Williams provided crucial advice for fixing up and editing it. It has now been stated and is before the floor for debate and discussion. Is there any debate or discussion on this bill to update the Charter and Bylaws, Elections, Judicial Council, and Transition Committee, Bill 2021 S2? Is there any debate or discussion? Once again, is there any debate or discussion for SGA Bill 2021 S2? I know we've talked about it a lot. If there is no debate or discussion, we'll be moving directly to a 2/3 majority vote by roll call. Okay. I see in the chat briefly. So, Madam Secretary, if you would be willing to, whenever you're ready, do the roll call. If you are in favor of this bill, say aye, or what was it last time? Yay, right? And if you are opposed to this bill, say nay when your name is called.
All right. Tonanzit.
Aye.
Jordan.
Yay.
Tanvi.
Aye.
Yvette.
Aye.
Adele. Might write that in the chat. Miriam.
Aye.
Zahra.
Aye.
Aziza. Aquay.
Aye.
Sebastian.
Aye.
Saket. Robert.
Aye.
Sweta. Naveen?
Aye.
Saket said yes. Okay, I'll mark you in. Mira?
Aye.
David?
Yay.
Christine?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Brendan? I think he's not here. Brianna said, I think yes in the chat. Camila?
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
And I'm not sure if Sarah came back, but Sarah? Oh, she did.
Aye.
And Ritti? Okay, so that's a unanimous vote in favor of the bill.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. With it being unanimous, we obviously have more than 2/3 majority needed. And this bill to update the charter and bylaws passes. So we'll be contacting Judicial Council shortly, as well as the Dean of Students, provided that they have no further concerns. This will be added to the charter and bylaws. 5 business days to sign. Yes, yes. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Speaker, for your hard work and effort. I know, yeah, a lot of late nights on this, but we finally got passed. Thank you all. Congratulations. All right. So the next item, I'll stop sharing, but the next item on the agenda would be new business. So there is, let me just pull it up. There's a resolution to assist the hunger-free task force, or more specifically, the pantry run, I should say. But the introduction is essentially the same. The only difference is after consulting with Pantry Run Director Hend on budgeting the NJ grant status and assistance, we have a projected doubling of students who are going to be accessing the pantry next year. We had about 100 students daily, during the pandemic. And with more students coming back on campus, we're expecting even more students to utilize those services. Unfortunately, current donations and funding may be unsustainable. And after talking with Director Hend and the, Director of Health and Wellness, Dr. Thomas, funding from the Board of Governors is limited, and there's not an expectation for recurring funding. Bulk dry goods such as pasta and cereal are most frequently demanded, and we can save and be more sustainable if they're provided in bulk. Investing in the pantry may help it become more sustainable and accessible, and the pantry run addresses basic needs issues which impact all students. Don't mind me, I'm still in the midst of presenting this. But given that, therefore be it resolved that the Rutgers Newark Student Governing Association requests $10,000 to be purchased bulk good items and supplies to increase convenience and sustainability, and $30,000 to purchase food, emergency food supplies, fresh produce, spices, or other items that benefit students using the pantry run, and request the Chief of Finance to submit appropriate purchase requests or transfers, and continue to collaborate to support the pantry and the Hunger-Free Task Force. So, pantry run. So now it has been stated before the floor and is open for debate or discussion. Is there any debate or discussion on this proposed resolution? Yes, this would be our largest contribution ever, aside from creating the pantry run a number of years ago. Thank you, President. Is there any other debate or discussion on this resolution? I'm not sure about the exact monetary amount when we started the pantry run, but the pantry run was originally an effort, an initiative that was created out of advocacy from the Student Governing Association. So we do have those close ties. Is there any debate or discussion regarding this resolution? 2021 E16. Just for a little bit of context, these numbers are based off of consultation with Director Hend and from the budget that our university, Rutgers Newark, submitted to the state for the grant. This, while it's nowhere near the full amount of the grant, is intended to help the pantry expand and improve its services, even if we don't get the grant. So even if we don't get the grant, we'll hopefully be able to get bulk good items so that students could like bring their own containers and like just fill up with cereal, right? Fill up with pasta, with rice, you know, the most frequent items that students get. And also allow the pantry to purchase food or even make emergency food supplies, just like amount for 1 to 2 meals that students could just pick up. Is there any debate or discussion on this resolution? Okay, hearing no further debate or discussion, we'll now move to 2/3 majority vote by roll call. Madam Secretary?
Okay, one moment.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Tonanzit.
Aye.
Jordan.
Aye.
Tanvi.
Aye.
Yvette.
Aye.
Adele. Miriam.
Aye.
Zahra.
Aye.
Aziza. Akwe.
Aye.
Sebastian.
Aye.
Socket. Robert.
Aye.
Sweta. Naveen. Mira.
Aye.
David.
Yay.
Christine.
Aye.
Kate.
Aye.
Brianna. Camilo.
Aye.
Ricky.
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
Right, and that's it for the roll call. It's a unanimous vote in favor of the resolution.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. This is, again, the largest contribution we've ever given to the pantry run. This will hopefully support all students who utilize that. I think it'll help it expand very much with bulk food goods, help us become more sustainable, which is a concern of many students on our campus. Hopefully our Chief of Finance will be able to process that and we'll be able to send that money over right away. But thank you again. Obviously, it being unanimous, that is well over the 2/3 majority that we need. Okay, so the remainder of funding, well, let's talk about the emergency fund. And I'm going to sort of present this as well as open it up to association and members of the public for comment. But just some history of the emergency funds, looking back a little bit, I want to share this resolution. Thanks to the continuing senators who helped write this. But way back when the COVID-19 pandemic was first starting, we had Senator Ricky Castaneda, Senator at the time, co-senator Senator at-large Will Smith, Senator Quay Borte, Sarah Shoba, and Carolyn Asaf create this resolution for COVID-19 relief. It describes the executive order that was coming out at the time, you know, the need at the time, and we donated then, if it'll finally load, in creating this F account, we donated $50,000 from the executive funds, as well as senators contributing all their remaining funds. And we encouraged to codify contingency plans for future emergencies. E1 from this semester, right, and E4 respectively donated. The language is very similar, right? It gives an overview. 94,000 over the course of spring 2020, and summer 2020, a total allocation of 150,000 nearly. We have the same information here, and then R1 on October 26th. But E1 donated $33,000 and E4 donated $61,000. So I know that senators have been working very hard on initiatives this year. I will also recognize that with a final sort of presentation for all of you. You can bear with my voice for just a little bit longer. Okay. Are you guys able to see the screen?
Yes.
Fantastic, thank you. So I want to do something about our impact 2020, 2021. I know it's finals. I know that you are all very busy. So I didn't want to have the administrative burden of creating that final committee presentation like we did in previous years on the senators. But I did want to still highlight a lot of the things that we've done. So I couldn't even fit all of these on here. I had to like sort of abbreviate these, right? But we have like $30,000 worth of care packages where any student could opt in, right? Environmental advocacy with a committee led by Senator Warner, with the 100% push for renewable energy with NJ Perk, to-go packages moving forwards. We have that entire working group for the prayer space, which connected interfaith organizations in a way that I don't think there's ever been that kind of collaboration before. We have the Investing in Our Future, where we reached out to multiple minority organizations and identity organizations on campus to fund their lounges, efforts with the pantry run, with camera advocacy, meeting with senior administration, such as senior vice chancellors, Ashwani Monga, deans from the business school. We have 15 senators trained from VPVA, which is, I think, an all-time high for an association, and we're certainly looking to increase that in the future, as well as our events and our co-sponsorships with many organizations, diversity and community engagement. So there was a lot that I was working on this year, and this is all of you guys. This is all the work from the senators. This is, I'm sorry if you have something that I did not include here that I forgot to include, please put it in the chat. But these are, I think, some of the most noble initiatives that we've had this year. Thank you. Yes. Skipping ahead. Sort of our process, right? Like we're communicating with students' vision, their need. We collaborate with student organizations and within ourselves, with committees, with working groups to create these initiatives. And finally, we implement them through funding them, through writing the resolution, and managing how they're developed and deployed afterwards. Right. And I think this has really helped with engagement overall. I'm really stealing the thunder away from our media committee, especially our media senators, Akwe, right? But we have 51 posts this year and over 100 responses to students' comments. This is from our Instagram, and from our general email account combined. But this is probably a very low estimate, because this doesn't include any of the conversations that you've been having with your peers, the outreach from all the senators. This is just from what we can track, right? We have 20,000 impressions monthly, revamping presence across all platforms. I had to only pick these 3 notable ones just to fit them in. And 60% growth in social media engagement just over the past month. We had 200% over fall, and I'm really excited to see where this continues. And then there's not all data is quantitative, right? This is, I think, a comment that struck me, and I think was important for our association overall, but having students feel seen for the first time, and this just shows that while there is that need, we are improving, we are taking those steps to try and address that. More of my side, my bread and butter, but e-government, right? The fact that we had, complete quorum at every single meeting. I didn't even include Senate caucuses on here. Otherwise, that number would probably be through the roof, well over 50, maybe even 60. But we had 30 official general body meetings, passing 22 pieces of legislation, including those today, 2 bills and 20 resolutions. And this is just a rough napkin math. But you guys cumulatively cast over 500 votes. That's over 500 times that you spoke up for students, that you advocate for your constituents, and helped actually move something within our government to get it done. this is something that I made that includes, this is basically every resolution, essentially. We have, the use of fund coming up very often, whereas, I know, a little bit formal there, but, whereas sort of explaining what's happening, food, Rutgers, allocated, support, renewable, requests, state office, like this is, all the work together. And I did like a rough count. Like I know a common response, right? A common assignment for classes is, write like a 500-page paper, right? Or write a 1,000-page paper. I don't know about poli-sci. Maybe you guys are writing a lot more than that. 1,000 is normally the top requests that I get. Like one of our resolutions alone normally runs about a couple hundred words. So thinking about like the 22 resolutions that we've passed, like the association together has written well over 20, 30 essays even. I think that's incredible, the amount that you put in, not even to include all the text that we send, all the communication, all the emails, all the Instagram posts, everything. Here are some more numbers. But for spring, we have $170,000 in funding. $16K went to investing our future, $30K to care packages. I'm hoping that we'll use 100% of funds with the final vote at the end. If we do contribute all of our funds for this semester alone, this will be the projected contributions, $84,214 to the Sga Emergency Fund. That's another 80 or even to 160 students that we can help using grants of $500 to $1,000. But I sort of want to ask you guys now and open it up to discussion. What do you guys feel like was your greatest accomplishments this year? And I want to, unless someone calls me to order, I want to sort of do away with Robert's rules for the moment. Yes, Williams was in there. Yes. Yeah. Feel free to just unmute yourself and speak, please.
I'm going to go. I have a lot to say about, just so many things. As one of the few most senior members of SGA that have served for the past few years, I really do want to congratulate everybody and thank everybody for everything that they've done. Ever since I was a freshman, I didn't know what SGA was, and I was just kind of that the freshman that was just sitting on the academic side in the Bergen room, which I'm very sad that you guys haven't gotten to experience this year because it was truly iconic. And just looking at passing down the mic, like things, small things that that became such a big part of the culture of SGA. But all of us really here, the 32 people, really were able to transform what SGA is and what SGA can do. And I really want you all to know that there's so much more than what this year was. It's unfortunate that we served in a pandemic and we served virtual. We never really got to meet in person, but be proud of everything that you've done, because nonetheless, we did serve when everything was just everything was up in flames in the world, and we were still able to feel the empathy and understand each other's experiences and be there to uplift and empower each other. And for the returning senators, the very few returning senators, congratulations on your elections. I'm very excited to see what you do. And I hope that everybody else that's not returning, that you keep an eye out for what SGA is doing, because there's a lot of accountability to be going around, and change will not happen unless we are holding each other and ourselves accountable, and that we know what the standard is, and we've set the expectations and we've set the standard ourselves. There's a lot of passion, and please don't let that go. Please hold on to that. I feel so old saying this, but you guys are the future. You guys are what's going to keep this going. And there are a lot of challenges that are going to come forth. And just keep knowing that together we can actually solve anything. And there might be discourse, and you know, it's healthy to have conversations and differing opinions, because that's how, you know, we can work through every single idea and outcome, and that's how we can be best prepared to present SGA and present our ideas to the rest of the student body, because that's at the end of the day what we are working for. We're working for the student body, and the student body alone. We are an extension of what Rutgers Newark is, whether that would be to University Senate, whether that would be to the Board of Trustees, Board of Governors, or the administration itself, whether that's President Holloway's or Chancellor Cantor's administration. There's always a lot of things that are going to come forward and a lot of things that are going to arise. And just remember that we can tackle it one issue at a time, and don't burn yourself out. There's, you know, your health, and you are the priority, because without you, the student body does not have a voice. And please just always remember that, and be true to your values, because a lot of opportunities are going to come your way. And just remember why you are doing this, because it is a lot of work. We've said it, you know, I think Tanvi said it, where, you know, like responding to texts at 2 a.m., working at legislations at 2 a.m. because of our passion and our interest. And that's exactly what we are doing this work for. And I don't think any of us would be here if we didn't want to do that. So thank you to everybody. It's been an incredible year. I'm so happy to see a lot of interest, especially interest in University Senate. This is, you know, we've come a long way. And you know, you'll always have, we'll always be here for you if you ever need anything. And don't think that we're not going to be keeping an eye on SGA. Don't think that we're not going to be looking at what legislations are being worked on and what kind of example you are setting for the future associations, and what kind of, not only for future associations, but also other student groups and students overall. And there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. Like I said, it's unfortunate what's happened throughout the year, but if there's one thing that Rutgers Newark is, it's resilient and persevere. And so, you know, hopefully you all can be the leaders of and taking up the initiatives to make the campus, to put the campus towards a healing process, and just recognizing that our community is extremely important and essential to our work. And so please keep that work, and keep fighting. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be very, 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 very hard to balance everything out. But you always have us if you need any help. You know, all the outgoing senators, I'm sorry I'm including you in this, but I think, you know, I don't think any of us would be hesitant to reach out and offer our help. And, you know, the administration as well, like Dean Pandit, Dean Williams, Gary, and OSLL in general, they're there for advice. And so definitely take that up, and reach out if you need anything. And it's going to be an amazing year. There's a lot of challenges. You know, we have like a half-filled SGA next year, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and you're not doing it alone. And everybody is in some sort of same boat. So don't be afraid to share your experiences, share your thoughts, your concerns, and your worries, but also your successes, and reflect on what's been done, and reflect on what you need to do and your position within the association is. I'm done with my rant. I'm done with my little event. So I thank you, everybody. It's been a crazy year. Thank you, Tanvi. I cannot express how amazing you have been. One of the most amazing people. Yes, no, you deserve all the recognition, and you are truly one of the best people that I've ever worked with, and a true inspiration. So thank you so much for all the work that you've done, and thank you for all the sleepless nights that you've stayed up working on legislation, working on events, and trying to ensure that this is the best SGA year that we have. And I cannot wait to see what you do in the future, because that is amazing. I also want to give a shout out to Jordan Warner, because Jordan, you are amazing. You, one of the freshmen that I truly look up to. I'm inspired by your work every single day, and we want to make you proud. Quay, this would not have been the same without you. Like, so many initiatives, and truly wanting to bridge the gap between students and the SGA and the administration. And that would not have been done without your innovation and your hard work and your effort and your creativity. So thank you all so much. And I'm done.
Hey everyone. I just wanted to start by saying really it has been a really awesome year for everyone. Oops, my bad. It has been a really awesome year for everyone. Seriously, shout out to everyone for doing what you do and caring about the students. As Erin mentioned, we don't do this because we just want to fill our resumes or anything like that, but we do it because we care about the students and we knew what was at stake. And especially coming in this year in a COVID pandemic, knowing what's at stake for our students and everything, I'm just, and everything that Harrison has highlighted, a year in review, we've done so much for the student body that we should really, pat ourselves a lot on the back, especially to Speaker Tanvi for doing such amazing work as being, just one speaker, doing a job of two or maybe even three speakers. So honestly, shout out to you for, organizing everything and organizing every one of us to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do to try to represent the students. And also to Akwe, coming into the SGA, technically it was a mistake. I don't think a lot of people really noticed, but when I originally ran in the fall elections, I was trying to run for the diversity affairs senator, but I was placed on the media senator ballot, and I was like, okay. But honestly though, I'm super glad that I did that because I was able to, do a lot as media senator and bringing in what Akwe has exponentially grew so much, just an idea, just a thought of trying to connect with the student body and trying to make all our jobs and duties much more transparent and much more accessible to people. Literally Akwe just made it 1 million times better. Honestly, shout out to Akwe for the website, and Sebastian too, for creating the live streams on Instagram. Nothing like that was ever in my imagination, in our imaginations to do that. And honestly, it's the great work and the dedication of everyone here. And just, us, accumulating a group of ideas and people just to, just for the greater good of everyone. And I'm just really proud of everyone and just everyone that's being elected. It's a real, it is going to be a tough task now transitioning back into campus, trying to quote unquote go back in normal. I really don't like using that term because normal was never good. But trying to transition into a new, I guess, future, if that's a better term. It is going to be a lot different. It's going to be a lot more work, especially just thinking about, how organizations are going to work, how clubs are going to work and funding. And SOIS was our baby back when we were on campus, Harrison and I working on that spreadsheet and updating that and making sure that it's it's something really good and useful. And who knew COVID was going to happen? No one could have, could have been predicted, but none of us saw that coming. And so I think that that's going to be the biggest daunting task that the new SGA is going to come and take upon. It's how student life is going to work on campus. And I think that us setting trends from starting up media and connecting with the students and helping students out with budget constraints and stuff like that, and financial need. I think that we hopefully could, this SGA legislative year, hopefully we can set a good trend for the future and the new administration to, do some due diligence to the students coming back on campus next semester. So I leave you with that, everyone. And just thanks to everyone for being such a good sport. And yeah.
Dylan, I don't know if you want to go first. You can go first. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm showing my face for after how long? But wow, I cannot go after Sarah and Ricky. I think they put the words best. But I just really want to show how proud of each and every one of you I am. We came into SGA, a lot of us came into SGA not knowing what to do. we were scrambling. We started over the summer and we were like, what are our positions? What do we do? What is Robert's rules? Charter and bylaws? What even? And now look at us. We are passing resolutions left and right, like Harrison said. We're making amendments to the charter. We in the meetings we call out when Robert's Rules of Orders is not being followed. Like, we quickly handled everything and we got so well adjusted. And to all of the senators that came into the fall, you guys impressed me so much. The way that you guys just immediately came into the Senate body and just started doing work, I could never. Like, I know it took me so long to adjust into my role and then to adjust to being speaker, but you guys did it so flawlessly. And like, there are no words besides, like, I appreciate every one of you so much. Like, Socket for getting yelled at by administrators, but still standing up. Like, I love every phone call that I get from you where you're like, guess what? I just got yelled at today. And Dylan, oh my God, you have been, like you said, we did butt heads sometimes, but you have done a lot for SGA and you have just really shown that you care about the students, and you've always been there listening to the students, listening to the senators, and listening to me, even though I disagreed with you a lot. So thank you for working with me and just, adjusting to this whole pandemic. You guys have been absolutely wonderful. Everyone coming in to this association has great big shoes to fill. And I don't know if they're going to fill it, honestly, but I do hope so. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you, Sarah and Ricky, for your better words than what I could have ever said. So listen to them. Don't listen to me. I'm just here to be sentimental and emotional and say that I love you all and thank you. I appreciate you and I'm so proud of you. I know that sounds weird, like I'm your mother, but I am really proud of all of you. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So I'm not gonna say anything redundant. I think a lot's been said. That's pretty obvious, pretty clear to everybody. I guess bringing it back to the main question Harrison proposed, right? Like, what's your proudest or biggest accomplishment? And I think on the association's behalf, that answer would be making tangible impacts for students. Really, like, because we can pass resolutions, right? We can do things on our own. We can organize internally. We can change our charter and bylaws, all things necessary. But this year, there have been multiple pieces of legislation that have gone to senior administrators, both the campus and university level. And they were well aware of that and our efforts, our activities, and it changed or affected, influenced the way that things happened at Rutgers, University Senate as well. We had an influence, maybe the biggest influence overall on policymaking at Rutgers than all the previous SGAs. And I can say, the 2 years prior that I served on SGA and my freshman year when I ran and lost, and the years before that I have some context to, I think like we blew them all out of the water. Like, and I hope that SGA continues to do that. I'm really proud that we got the chancellor to commit 50% discount for 1/3 of students graduating for the regalia. That's a $40,000 commitment they had to squeeze into their strategic budget there, as well as the in-person events. Then the emergency fund, the investing in our future, the Clean Box initiative. There's so much more. I can't even say them all. That's, I think, our biggest achievement in total overall as an association is making positive, tangible impacts for students. And that's what it's all about. And these next 2 weeks or during finals, I'm going to be working hard, executing everything we've done, making sure they happen, making sure these transfers happen, making sure this money goes to the pantry, making sure this money goes to the emergency fund, making sure that we put in the purchase orders necessary for the items that we wanted, that we passed, right? That's a lot of work is in that beyond passing the resolutions. And I'm going to follow through on that. That's what I signed up for. and I'm happy to be part of it. And I'm so happy to have worked with all of you this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, President. Thank you all our, some of our more senior senators, but thank you everyone who is speaking. I do want to thank you, Dean Williams. Dean Williams, would you want to speak? Sorry to put you on the spot there.
If she doesn't, we have the motion.
I did not want you all, because just hearing you all talk, it's just so, honestly, I've been working with some of you since you first year students, and to see you all just a short amount of time, it's amazing. Such an amazing job. You left an indelible mark. Future generations of students are going to benefit from. And I just do in the future for those who are staying with. I think you have, big shoes to fill. You have those who are not going to stay in contact with us, be a part of this family. And I just can't be proud of you all. I'm so, so, so proud. You all are myself and Dean Pandit, even come to work, and you should be so proud of yourselves, and congratulations on a super successful year.
Thank you very much, Dean Williams, for all your advice, for sometimes staying up so late with us, which is so wild for any person who gets paid to do this. But thank you, everyone. I'm so sorry. Briefly returning to Robert's Rules, I want one of the last things we do is to be one of our main pushes. I think one of the main missions of our association to directly support students with emergency funding. So using the amendments that we just passed from Bill 2021 S2, we don't need a resolution, we don't need a bill. Someone can feel free to call me to order, but I'd like to say, for all those in favor of moving all remaining SGA funds that have not been previously allocated to the emergency fund, all those in favor of moving SGA remaining funds to the emergency fund, say aye or yay.
Aye.
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 Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And all those opposed to moving the remaining funds to the emergency fund, say nay. Thank you, Senators. It is unanimous. All of our remaining funds will be moved to the SGA Emergency Fund or the COVID-19 Relief Fund. So with contributions from student organizations, we're estimating $84,000. That's at least 80 to 160 students that will be directly helping, besides all the other tangible and intangible impacts that we've made on our campus. Our media center, our media committee has been bugging me. I did say, if everyone would be able to turn their cameras on, I'm going to turn on gallery view. Last picture, everyone. Pretty please. Well, wait, I know it's a little weird. Everyone's getting situated, being virtual and all. Fantastic to see you guys. So our media centers are going to be helping me out a little bit here, but we're just going to be taking screenshots. We're going to take probably a couple, since I need to scroll through to the other side, since I don't have a big enough window. Like there's 2 panels for the Zoom screen. But if everyone is ready, it'll be on 3. All right. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Scrolling through, 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right. Thank you guys so much for turning on your camera. Not mandatory, of course. And yeah, I just want to say, yeah, I'm going to get a call from Socket right now. Thank you all so much. I'm really proud of all of you guys, having served on SJ, not as long as some of you, but for a really long time. or it feels like a really long time. This has been an incredible year. The fact that we have done so much with so little time, with so little contact with students, it's honestly incredible. You should all really be proud of yourselves, and I encourage you all to continue to work on this and also take care of yourselves. We do have a lot of open positions next year for the SGA if you are still interested. But yeah, thank you all so much. Really, thank you all so much for supporting yourselves, for supporting your students, and for supporting your student governments. We couldn't have done it without you. So if there is no objection, is there a motion to adjourn? I know, I don't want it to end either.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Senator Castaneda. Seconded by Senator Quay-Forte. Thank you all so much. Best of luck in finals. I will miss you all. And please stay in touch. Please feel free to reach out. I'm available on WhatsApp, Discord, email, phone number. Yes, please stay in touch. Please connect with each other. And yeah, thank you all so much. It's been a fantastic year. Take care, everyone. Yes, good luck on finals. Those exist. Good luck.